The taxi that never turns around, a cab ride in the countryside, with a driver who never checks the mirror and never lets passengers leave. The room that repeats the day. A guest wakes up to the same morning every time, except something new waits in the room each cycle. The umbrella left at the station. An old, forgotten umbrella returns to its owner and brings the storm with it. The children who float laughter echoes near a flooded rice field, even though no one has played there in decades. The man on the other pillow. A woman wakes to find her husband sound asleep beside her, but her real husband died last year. Narration script episode 1. Some rides are short, some are too long, and some were never meant to end. I was in the countryside after missing the last train out of Fukui. The station was quiet, no buses, no signs of life. Then headlights. A taxi pulled up without being hailed. The driver didn't speak. He simply rolled down the window and nodded. Too tired to question it, I got in. The interior smelled faintly of incense. Traditional Inca music played softly from the radio. I told him my destination. He gave a short nod, and we drove. The road twisted through mountain fog. I checked my phone, no signal. The clock blinked 144 a.m. I looked at the rearview mirror, but it was tilted away, and the driver never checked it, never turned, never blinked, just drove. After a while, I realized something strange. We kept passing the same tunnel. I counted once, twice, 5 times. Each time, the same old sign, Circle Dorfa, frequent accidents. I asked the driver, "Are we going the right way?" He didn't answer. I tapped his shoulder. He flinched, not in surprise, but like something had broken. He whispered, "You look too soon." Suddenly the taxi stopped. Middle of the road, silent mountains all around. Then I noticed there were passengers in the back seat, not people, just outlines, shadows, smiling. One of them turned its head, and it was me. I jumped out and ran, fell, screamed. But when I looked back, the taxi was gone. No sound, no lights, only tire tracks leading to nowhere. I made it back to the station by sunrise. Told the locals what happened. One old man nodded slowly and said, "That taxi comes for people who don't know they're already gone." I still ride taxis, but I never sit in the back, never take one without a company name, and never ever look into the rear view mirror. Narration script episode 2. Some rooms offer comfort, others offer only one thing. The same day, again and again. It was a business trip, one night only. I stayed at an old-fashioned inn in Nagano Prefecture, room 203. Tatami floors, paper lamp, a small wall scroll that read, Yisheng, one day, one lifetime. I remember that clearly because I'm still in that day. I went to bed around 11:30 p.m. Woke up to the sound of the staff knocking. "Breakfast is ready, sir." Everything felt normal until I noticed my watch was still ticking, but stuck at 7:04 a.m. I ate, got ready, stepped outside, and suddenly I was back in bed. Same knock, same breakfast, same scroll on the wall, again and again. Every time I try to leave the room, I wake up on the futon at 7:04. Exactly. At first, I thought it was a dream, but one morning, there was something new on the wall. A second scroll, handwritten. Akeruna, do not open it. But nothing was open until I noticed the closet, a sliding door I hadn't touched before. I opened it. Inside was me, dead, eyes open, mouth sewn shut, and he whispered, "Stop waking me." Now every loop changes slightly. Sometimes the food is cold, sometimes the innkeeper has no face, sometimes the clock ticks backwards, but it always ends the same. 6:04 M, room 203. And the knock. I've tried everything, smashing the walls, writing messages, even hurting myself. Nothing works, except once. I stayed awake through the night, and as the sun rose, I saw something standing by the window, wearing my uniform, wearing my skin. It smiled and said, "Good, you're ready to sleep now." Then I blacked out. When I came to, I was still in the room, but the scroll had changed. Yokoso, welcome. If you ever stay in a room with no clocks, no outside sound, and a wall that repeats the same message, get out or you might wake up. Forever. Narration Script, Episode 3. Some things we lose on purpose. But what if they come back? And remember why they were abandoned? It was the rainy season. I had just missed my train at Yotsuya Station and waited under the overhang, holding an old, worn-out black umbrella. It had been my ex-girlfriend's. I'd kept it out of guilt more than sentiment. But that night, I left it leaning against a pillar, on purpose. The next morning, I found it on my doorstep, dry, clean, and perfectly upright. I thought it was a coincidence. There are plenty of black umbrellas, but it had the same tear on the inside seam, the same faded logo. It was hers. I threw it out, but it returned again and again. Once left on a train, once dropped in a river. It always came back, always dry, always clean. Then the rain changed. It followed me. I'd step outside on a sunny day, and rain would fall just over me, a tight circle of drizzle, as if the sky itself had its own umbrella. People stared, my coworkers whispered, and then the dreams began. I'd be standing on the train platform, holding the umbrella, except now someone else stood under it with me. Not her, but something wearing her face, smiling, mouth too wide. It whispered, "You forgot me," but I never let go. One night I woke up, soaked, in my bed, and the umbrella was open above me. I burned it, sat and watched the flames consume it, and for a while, the rain stopped. Until this morning, on my way to work, I passed Yotsuya Station, and there, leaning against the same pillar, was the umbrella, perfect, dry, and tied to the handle, a note. "Thank you for carrying me. It's your turn now." Now when it rains, I feel her hand slip into mine, even though I'm alone. She holds the umbrella, and I can't let go. If you ever find an umbrella you thought you left behind, don't touch it. Don't open it, because what follows under its shadow doesn't always leave when the sun returns. Narration Script, Episode 4. Laughter is usually a sign of life, but when it echoes across still water, sometimes it means someone never left. In a small town in Toyama, there's a rice field that no one farms anymore. It's always flooded too deep, too muddy. Locals just call it the quiet water. They say if you walk by it near dusk, you can hear the sound of children playing, splashing, laughing. But no one has swum there in decades, not since the flood. My uncle was a town councilman. He asked me to document the area photos, maps, video. The first evening I visited, it was cloudy, still, no wind, no insects, just silence. Then a giggle, soft, right behind me. I turned, no one. Then ripples on the water, but no rain. I set up my camera, left it recording overnight. In the morning, the footage showed something strange. At 2:17 m, 5 shapes rose from the water, small, barely human, and they waved at the camera. I showed my uncle. He said nothing, only lit incense. Then he finally told me there was a school by the field. When the flood came, the children were trapped inside. We couldn't get to them. They were heard screaming, then laughing, then nothing. After that, the field never dried, as if it wanted to hold them. I returned one last time, brought flowers, placed them by the water's edge. A small handprint appeared on the stone beside them, and a voice whispered, "Play with us." Since then, I avoid that road, but sometimes, on rainy days, I find small puddles in my yard with tiny footprints leading away from them, and laughter from places where no one is. If you ever pass by still water and hear children playing, don't look in. Don't call out, because they might still be waiting for someone to pull in. Thank you for traveling with us through Japanese Horror Narration Series Volume 8. From the roads that never end, to rooms that never reset, to umbrellas that remember, and fields that don't forget. We've shared stories not just meant to scare, but to remind you what's left behind doesn't always stay behind. If you feel watched after this, if you hear a knock, a laugh, or your name whispered in the rain, don't reply, don't answer. And whatever you do, don't go back to where the story began. We'll be here when you forget, when you remember, when you're ready for Volume 8. Until then, sleep well. And if you hear footsteps behind you, keep walking. Good night.